friends. Welcome back. Today, we're going to play a little game, and I'm going to call that game What's in Your Circle. So, I want you to put this podcast on pause and grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and let's play this game. So, you've got your pen and paper. In the center of the page, I want you to draw a stick figure of yourself. If you're an artist, feel free to add your hair and add your clothes and do whatever you want to do. I personally have no artistic ability at all, so mine looks like a stick figure. Draw yourself in the center of that page. And then around yourself, draw a large circle. And I want you to follow me for a second because I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but it's important to have the background information so that you know how to play the game that we're going to play. So, you've heard me say repeatedly that we are spirits having a human experience. And I just want to take this moment to remind you that it's easy to get caught up and to think that you are this human form, but you are not. You are actually a soul or a spirit. You are much, much larger than what you see and know is yourself. In essence, the real you is actually projecting down into this human form. And so we lose sight of the spiritual aspect of ourselves, but the spiritual aspect is much, much bigger, more important, and far more powerful than the flesh, blood, and bone being that we know as ourselves. So we are souls or spirits, whatever term tickles your fancy, and we are projected down into this human form. So the larger part of us comes from the beyond, and I did a podcast about that, and if I can remember, I'll link that in the comments so that you can go back and listen to that, because that kind of gave a little bit of perspective on where we come from before we come into these human bodies or before we take on these human forms. So before you were here in this material realm, you were there in the immaterial realm, and that immaterial realm is just as big as you can imagine. It's much more real in a sense than even where we are now. It's just that we've lost perspective on that. Some people call that heaven. There are beings there, and spirits and angels and souls, and all of these kinds of entities are there in the immaterial world or on the other side, or if you want to call that heaven. I'm using all of these terms to try to find one that will resonate with you so that you can get what I'm speaking about. And sometimes it helps to have just a frame of reference. So if you want to call that heaven and you want to believe that all souls come from heaven, you can believe that. Some people may refer to that as higher consciousness. The terms don't matter, and different religions or different spiritual paths use different terms for all of it, but it's all the same. The bottom line is you are not the you that you think you are. You are much bigger than that. There is an immaterial part of you that came from another immaterial place that is very real, that still exists. So I think it's important to kind of lay that groundwork so that I can show you why I had you draw yourself on the paper in the midst of this circle. So before you come here, and some people may call this a pre-life agreement, but before you come here, there were certain things that you were to do or accomplish in this particular lifetime. You came into human form not just to play around, although play and enjoying life is very much a part of it, but you came here with a mission in a sense. And most of us have completely forgotten the mission. Now, I could go down a tangent, but I don't think it's important to do that right now as to why we don't remember that we are these larger beings. There's a whole process around that and the reason why we forget. And maybe I'll go into that on another podcast. But just know that this is not some kind of hooey-fooey notion, that there is a particular thought process or a model behind all of this. And as you start to accept that this is fact, as you start to move down the spiritual path, everything is going to start to be revealed to you. So if you don't really get it right now, don't worry, because you will. I promise you, in time, it will all start to make sense. So back to the pre-life agreement. Before you come here, there's a mission for you. There are certain things that you are supposed to accomplish in your life, certain things that you can have, certain possibilities are available to you, certain skills and certain gifts. All of that is kind of decided before you come into these physical bodies, right? And so if you want to kind of think of it in terms of being a blueprint or an outline of your life, you can think of it in terms of that. It doesn't mean that every single thing is etched in stone and decided before you come here, because that would be a violation of free will. We all have been given free will to decide and choose to live the way that we want to live. But there was a parameter that was established before we came here. Certain things that we agreed to do. Like Gandhi, before he came here, there was an agreement that he would actually follow the spiritual path and elevate himself to a level where he would affect humanity in the way that he did. Same thing for Martin Luther King. But it's also true for the rest of us who may not have some big lofty thing that we are to accomplish in this lifetime. It's no less important. We are all contributing to this larger thing called humanity. And I just want to try to get you to understand that there's something much bigger going on here, right? It is not just you and your fingernails and doing your hair and all of that. There's something big here, and you are still connected to that. And your circle, in a sense, is your blueprint, right? So look at yourself in the center of that circle. The circle represents what was agreed upon before you came into this physical body, and I hope you're still with me. It's your talents, it's your gifts, it's your career choices, it's your partners, the people you are going to marry, it's the cities that you live in. All of that stuff is in your circle. And as I said, some people call that a pre-life agreement. I hope you're following me thus far. Let me recap. You come from something much larger. You project down into this human form. There is a blueprint for your life, a certain structure or certain parameters that are there. And that is the circle that you're looking at on the paper. And we are supposed to be finding, realizing, and materializing what is in our circle. In essence, that is our life. And the majority of us aren't doing that. We don't understand that we are not this flesh, blood, and bone body. And we have forgotten that we have something important to do in this lifetime, that there's some bigger mission here. Like I said, we all aren't going to be Gandhi and King, but you have the ability to impact your community, whether you're a teacher, whether you're an IT worker. There is a way that you can use your gifts and talents in service to others. And as you do that, you better all of creation or all of humanity. So I hope that is making sense to you, because here's how you play the game. And I kind of tricked you a little bit here. The game that you drew on the paper is symbolic of the real game of life. Your role and responsibility here is to figure out what's in that circle. And this is the key. This is the trick that everybody is missing as they're stumbling and bumbling through their life and feeling like they're a victim to their circumstances. You're not. You just don't have the tool that you need. And I'm getting ready to give you one of them. Very important. The way you figure out what is in your circle is by how you feel. And so let me go down this path for a second. We live in a universe that is based on energy, and it's also based on the concept of alignment. When you are aligned with things that are a resonance with you, they feel good. Have you ever, I don't know, been at a conference or a party and you meet a person that you've never met before, and all of a sudden you start talking to that person, and when you walk away, you say, man, I really enjoyed talking to him or her. It felt like I had known him or her my entire life. That is this concept of alignment. There is a resonance when you align with things that are a match to you. And that is how you determine what is in your circle. And that is what we haven't been doing. We've been trying to latch on to people that are not a match to us. We've been trying to live in cities or work jobs that aren't a match to us. And I did that for years to my detriment. I was constantly stressed out. It eventually ended up taking a toll on my health. That's the hard way. I'm giving you the secret to doing it the easy way. And you just want to feel for that concept of resonance in every decision that you're making. So let me take another aside here because this stuff is so important. You have to kind of get in a place where you're sensitive. It's not going to be some blaring thing like, oh, I feel good, I feel wonderful. Not always. It can be like that sometimes, but not with everything. You have to actually be quiet. You have to have a certain level of inner peace. You have to have a quiet mind. You have to flow in a state of trust. In other words, you're constantly looking for what is a match to you. Now that you understand this concept, begin to move in it. As you do that, as you have a certain faith about things and a certain trust about things, and as your mind can be quieted, as your spirit and as your soul is at rest, you'll be able to determine far more readily what is a match to you and what is not a match to you. You'll be able to figure out before you came here what was decided for you, what is in your circle. So you don't want to get a man, I don't care how attractive he is and how much money he has. If he's not in your circle, you're looking at heartache. You're looking at stress and strife. If he's aligned, instantly, you're going to be happy. You and that person are going to go on to do great things because he's in your circle and you're in his circle. What we're doing is we're outside the circle and we're trying to latch on to him because, I don't know, I like his smile, or he has bow legs, or whatever notion that we come up with or we make excuses for. And sometimes once we latch on to that person, they are abusive to us mentally, sometimes even physically. They are cheating. It's because they weren't in your circle. And so same thing with a career, same thing with your friends. Oftentimes, many of us are attached to friendships and relationships that just don't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, you're not aligned and it's not in your circle. So you want to start letting that stuff go. So you're looking at the game of life, you in the center of that circle, And you want to start being sensitive to everything that you're encountering, every decision that you have to make. Even the clothes that you put on your body, you can use this concept of alignment. When you put it on, does it feel good? If it feels good, I guarantee you when you wear it, you're going to look good in it. We're buying stuff because it had an $8 tag on it and it was 75% off. Don't do that. Work this concept of alignment in your life. Work this principle to the bone. People, places, things, cities, vacations, all of that. If you can only attach your energy to what is 100% for you, you're going to find that your life experience is much more pleasing. You're going to be able to enjoy your time here and have less things to stress about. You're still going to have some stress because we live in a world of contrast, and that is how we grow. So you're never going to be in a situation where everything is 100% perfect all the time. But if you work this principle, if you play the game of life using this particular tool, you're going to find less points of contention. You're going to find yourself more in tune with the things that are for you than are not for you. And when you do that, of course, that's going to lead to less stress and a more peaceful and happy life experience. So that was a lot of words. Let me take a few minutes to just kind of recap. You are spirit in human form. And before you came here, there was a blueprint for your life. It included your life purpose. It included people, where you're going to live, where you're going to work, the house you're going to live in, or houses that you're going to live in. All the things about your life were almost pre-structured for you or pre-decided. And we do have free will, of course. If there's 10 houses in your circle, you may only live in 3 or 4. That's okay. That's not a violation. But just understand that there was a structure there. Your skills, your gifts, your talents, who you would marry, the people you would marry. Some people will marry more than one person. That's all right, as long as they're in their circle. We are supposed to be figuring out, this is the game of life, what's in the circle. What was decided for me that I could have in this lifetime. That is the game of life that we should be playing. And the way that you find out what's in the circle is by how you feel. The concept of resonance. Because we are energy, when you actually encounter something that is on the same energetic wavelength as you are, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel good. There's a certain peace or certain joy that you may feel. You're just going to know if you are sensitive to it, and that's a very important point. You want to start quieting your mind. You want to start maybe doing a little meditation. You want to start being a person that is peaceful. You want to start trusting in your life process and having faith that you will actually uncover what is in your circle. And as you do that, you're going to find that your life experience is going to get better and better, because the things that you're choosing are now a match for you. Those are the things that were pre-decided before you came here that you can have. You can be a teacher. You can get a PhD. You can live in Chicago. You can live in New York. And you know, sometimes I will even see, and I've coached people like this, where they feel a draw to another city, but fear won't let them go. And I'm thinking, baby, that draw, that's the concept of alignment. If you go there, your circle's going to start to fill in more. There's a job there. There's a spouse there. There's something there for you. That's why you are feeling the energetic pull to it. So you want to be sensitive about what you're feeling when you encounter a new person. If you're quiet enough, if you're sensitive enough, you're going to know right off, for me or not for me. If you go to a job interview If you don't panic, if you don't get desperate, which is very human of us, if you don't do those things, you're going to know right off when you leave the interview, this is the place for me, this is not the place for me. That is the process. That is the game of life. And as you do that, your circle starts filling in, and you're going to find that your circle is far more satisfying than the one that you've been living, where you've been randomly attaching to things and trying to make a match of things that aren't resonating with you. The vibration is off. It's different. And when you're doing that, you're expending a lot of energy to hold on to that. You're expending a lot of energy to hold on to a man that's not a vibrational match to you, when there is no resonance. You can do it, but you're exhausted. Whereas when you find the person that's for you, there's peace, there's joy. It doesn't mean there's not going to be tension or friction ever, because there will be. That is also the game of life. That contrast is a very real part of our experience, because that's what causes us to grow. But you can learn how to manage that. And I talk about that on other podcasts. If you have a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon, just go back through and start listening to those. And you may pick up a thing or two about how to be happy and how to find joy. You're going to always have some level of contrast, but it doesn't have to be your dominant experience. You can find peace. You can find joy. You can be happy. So keep your vibration high and only choose things that are a direct vibratory match to you. And as you do that, you're going to find, man, you can have the life that you always dreamed of.